we've all heard about Slot Trumps, which came out in September. It's a fantastic campaign that we did at EveryMatrix, along with our partners at iGaming Business and Clarion. And we thought we'd have a conversation about how we came up with the idea, the objectives behind it, the challenges, and really what we achieved and the outcomes. It was a really exciting campaign for us, the first time we've ever done this, and we're really pleased with the results. So with us today, I would like to introduce
Robin Harrison, Global Content Director.
Sophie Webster, Digital Growth at Clarion Gaming.
And Alexandra Vojna, Product Marketing, Casino.
Great. So first of all, let's talk about how we kind of came up with the idea. For me, this was born out of an idea chatting with Ian Larkham at Clarion back in ICE 2023, when I suggested that we really needed to look at our data, to really kind of grab our data, that we've got so much data within the business and we really wanted to do something with it. And then he suggested that you were trying to, grow the business in a certain direction, apply more digital thinking to it, and work closer with clients, right, in gaming, not just do events, not just do content, but kind of bring it up to a different level.
Yeah, do something.
How did you see it, Robin?
So, from our side, we can do a lot with data. Whether it's kind of visualizing it, and we're only really still scratching the surface of that. But one of the kind of most interesting things to us is really looking at that casino vertical, especially around slots, because when you and I started in the industry, James, a long time ago, games such as Starburst would come out, and it would be an absolute smash hit, and that is still around the top of the charts today. So things haven't really moved on. A lot of games have come out since then. Back then there was maybe like 10, 20 games a month. Now there are 1,000. So it's very difficult to actually work out what works. So, having access to that data, that was kind of first of all the really exciting thing with us, being able to actually have some interesting stuff to play with. But then also, it was really a case of kind of looking at how to actually present that in a way that can provide actionable intelligence, and that's where really the kind of the top trumps cards came about. I'll be honest, I never played with top trumps when I was little. I was more into football stickers.
I think I had the Simpsons top trumps.
Really?
One of my favourite. Yeah.
Nice. I had tractors and sports cars and footballers and all
just
sorts.
inanimate objects, apart from the footballers. Well,
and then Alex, the big thing for us really, wasn't it, to look at our data, and we really wanted to kind of educate the audience around our aggregation network. And you played a really important role, gaining that data and then bringing it to life. So tell me a bit more about how that's worked.
We're the largest aggregator in the industry, and we're present in numerous regulated markets. So it was the natural next step for us to want to share the insights with the industry, with professionals. So we wanted to look into the hottest markets, 2023 and 2024. Markets that are mature and already regulated, but also markets that are emerging at the moment and hold immense potential.
Yeah. And, aside from the educational side, we wanted to achieve, we looked at our KPIs. We wanted to kind of really measure this properly, didn't we? And I think, the team you've put in place, Sophie and Robin, I think it's been really great. The customer success has been great. The paid media has been great. The video stuff's been really good. How do you think it's kind of gone?
Yeah, I think, we work with a lot of clients across all the industry. And I think, the team with Alex and MJ and yourself, James, have really brought themselves to bear in an integrated way. So it's much, much easier for us to work with companies that come to market in that way with us. I think, there's so much noise out in the market at the moment that you need creativity to cut through. But our commitment, I guess, is to give you everything that you need in terms of data, performance on your campaigns, put data back in your hands. I think a weekly call where we feel kind of an integrated part of your team or an extension as part of your team. I think we're going to be doing much more in terms of performance marketing, a lot more in terms of data and insights at your fingertips week on week, so that you can help make decisions about understand what's performing well, how you might spend your money a little bit further to get better and closer to your objectives.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's been really good to kind of move away from banners.
Yes, yes.
I can see Sam in the background there. So banners are an essential part of this industry, right? We need to educate people. We need to still stay relevant.
I think one of the last that I had at ICE with your team was about this constant need to sort of spray and pray, which is what we call it at Clarion. It's it's an important part of marketing, brand awareness, to be in as many places as your customers are. But I think that conscious kind of very creative, very meaningful campaign that Slot Trumps has delivered has been really impactful.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think you kind of breathes life into some kind of maybe like older staid products like banners. It's something that's really kind of unique to present to the industry, even if it is in banner form. I think that just kind of gives it something quite different. And I think as well it's given us a scope to experiment with other elements such as videos. Like one of the kind of elements within the campaign was essentially a kind of quite a unique format of video using a lot of kind of different techniques, kind of like animations that we hadn't really kind of done before. And that was really down to the fact that we actually had these card elements that we could play about with and, make kind of dance around and, kind of make it look kind of quite different.
And I think for me in particular, it's one of our kind of key case studies where, we've both thought about the operator, the customer, the consumer of the content. We've taken a more kind of B2C approach than maybe a typical B2B campaign. And I think trial and error around webinar formats, video formats, paid media, even sometimes banners, some of the click-through rates were pretty good. I think it's about finding where those niche segments are for you and making sure we're driving meetings, I guess, back to the exhibition stands at ICE.
Yeah, and we did that at ICE this year, definitely. Alex, what do you think has kind of worked best? Give us a flavour of some of the things that we've done, the thought leadership stuff, the videos and the things that we've done at EveryMatrix.
Everything went great.
Yeah.
But we've seen a higher impact in the markets that are most interesting at the moment. So for example, we've seen a higher impact in Brazil, in Germany, due to the regulations and changeable environment and so on, so that not only the information in the dashboard was more accessed, but also in the thought leadership piece, where we share extra insights besides the player behavior data. So that for me would be the top performing actions in this.
Yeah.
But also the videos we've created, I've seen they have a lot of impact.
And internally as well, I think we've learned a lot ourselves about our own products and our own games and the themes that people play and the bet amounts and the bet rounds and all those kind of things. And I think it's really helped, hasn't it? I think it's really helped kind of educate our own employees as to what we do and the kind of reach that we have. What about the sort of, what would you say, Robin, had been the sort of, and Sophie maybe, and Alex, what would you say would be, the sort of biggest challenges that we faced and how have we kind of overcome those? It's not as if we've had to overcome huge hurdles, but maybe the communication side of.
Yeah, I think at first it was an element of kind of like feeling out how we worked in this project together. Especially something that's kind of recurring over a 6-month period, and that takes a bit of effort from both sides just to kind of work out how it all kind of pieces together. And also, I think there's an element of uncertainty doing something like this that's never been done before. So, to an extent, I think it's fair to say on both sides there was maybe a bit of, is this actually going to work?
Yeah. I think for me, we've followed a typical product development cycle, where you go big and broad and then you refine and you go big and broad again. And I think we'll go through that, in the next iteration, I'm sure. I think for me, the biggest learning has probably been around how we work together as a team. I think it's been really interesting to have someone that's not just part of the marketing team, has a specialism in product marketing there, because that's helped us, understand the intricacies of the product and what you're really trying to drive and learn about the market as well through your marketing campaigns. And I think it's helped us also think about that online and offline offering, which I think next time leading into Barcelona will be a really, really cool thing for us to focus on.
Yeah, one of the fun things at ICE was the cards themselves, wasn't it? And they were a big talking point. And
Did
actually, a lot of our
actually love them.
competitors now want to do the same thing. So I want to keep them away from this. But, and what about you, Alex? What would you say the challenges were on our side? Was it kind of getting the data, or was it more than that?
Not necessarily getting the data, but dealing with such large amounts of data and extracting exactly what professionals would like to know.
Yes.
Because that's the tricky part. What do you do with such large amounts of data, and which ones do you put forward? That was the biggest challenge from our side internally. Also working as a team, I'd say it was a bit of a challenge at the beginning because we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, but then it smoothed out,
At
didn't
the
it?
very beginning. But then we streamlined everything, and I'm super happy with that.
And then what about, I mean, just to sort of wrap up, what are the kind of the outcomes that you're happiest with the most? What was the 2 or 3, you know, or even 1, up to you? But I mean,
Well, I mean, I think the impact it's had on the market, I mean, like, you know, in terms of delivering kind of visibility and really kind of hammering the message, like the power of that kind of, like, you know, that kind of product, I think that's come across really well without always just having to have the product in shot, if you know what I mean. It really has kind of looked at the underlying kind of elements of what you actually get from working with Slot Matrix. And I think that's actually more powerful than having done something that's just entirely Slot Matrix branded.
Yeah, I think look, if we think about kind of our strategy for the next year, it's really about broadening our scope into a global media offering. It's about growing our authority and integrity, and I think that campaign, you know, similar to you, similar objectives, I guess, which has been, you know, really a great match made in heaven. But I think if we look at the Slot Trumps campaign, you know, we've learned something new. We've worked really well with clients, and you know, we've had an impact across markets that we're just starting to touch. So, you know, I think for me, it's both, you know, impact with you from a value perspective, but also a lot of value for us. So thank you.
pleasure. And what would you say?
I'd say the same.
Yeah.
The actual impact that I've seen this campaign had in terms of even word of mouth, the feedback that came back from events, from our salespeople, our account managers, and basically the whole team. We've seen that people really found out about this campaign, and I think that's the most important thing, because it was first and foremost an educational effort. And we seem to have reached the professionals we wanted to.
Yeah. And how can we improve it next? And we've got something kind of bubbling under, maybe. Let's hope so. But what would be one thing we could do to kind of do better next time?
I think you know, you guys obviously won the IGB award for pushing the boundaries, and I think it is about, you know, unfortunately this has been so creative and so successful in the market that I think it's about turning that wheel again. I think making sure the ideation is as broad as we can go, not just, you know, focusing on tweaking, but actually, you know, making that big bang again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've shown kind of one element of what this data kind of tells us and what we can do with it. And it really is, as Sophie says, a case of going a bit kind of further. You know, it's like whether that's kind of expanding the scope, you know, with new markets. I mean, obviously we have new assets in the US that potentially gives us kind of like a bit more reach.
Proud of that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I just sort of chuck that in there. So yeah, I mean, it's really about looking at what else, you know, essentially it has to deliver value, right? So we need to look at what else the industry is looking to better understand.
I think data is a key part for us. I'm not sure we'll share any more other than that, but there's lots of opportunity that we're thinking about in terms of bringing together data sets.
Yeah, I mean, the industry sits on so much data. We've been in Bucharest today listening to all the experts that we've got at EveryMatrix talking about data.
Exactly.
And we want to delve a bit deeper, don't we, into the next layer, hopefully. Maybe something on gamification, I don't know yet.
Oh,
we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure working with you guys.
Thanks for having us in Bucharest.